This is Master Turtle, and today we have the second episode of TMNT Generation Gap. This is an in-depth analysis on Donatello from Rise of the TMNT. And TMNT Generation Gap is where I try to bridge the gap between each generation of the Ninja Turtles. Each episode of this will be my thoughts, reviews, and a way to talk about my experiences. Overall, the designs are very cool, and I'm sure there's a lot of references. I'll be doing one character per episode, and I like to address Donatello in this episode. My impressions on body, weapons, accessories, and personality. Body. Donatello is actually quite different in terms of his species. He is a soft-shell turtle. Soft-shell turtles are known to have obviously soft shells, but not only that, they also have long necks, streamlined heads, and a long snout. Basically, their long snouts act as a snorkel for them to breathe. They actively use ambush in order to catch prey. Now, this is actually really cool because Donatello being an inventor and a ninja, that makes sense. Apparently, the soft shell is hydrodynamically efficient, which basically means the soft shell turtle can move very quickly in water and therefore are known to be rapid swimmers. Now, having a soft shell is basically an Achilles heel, and we know that Donatello uses an armor to cover his soft shell. What's really cool is that in the Ninja Tribunal season in 2003 series, is revealed that when the turtles can turn into dragons, Donatello becomes a water dragon. So I'd like to think that they decided to make Donatello a water type. Weapons. Donatello uses a tech bow staff, as you can see. Now, this is one of the few iterations where Donatello has a staff that is not only a stick, but also incorporates his inventor mentality. Now, the next Mutations Donatello also uses a metal staff, and in series such as the 2003 TMNT, Donatello sometimes has a tech staff. And you know what? This is what we really expect. I'd like to see what his armor can do. So let's move on to accessories. Now, based on the fact that Donatello can probably move around really well in water, I'd imagine that the hover device also makes him aerodynamic. In addition, it's been confirmed that Donatello has an AI assistant. Now, I'm thinking of Iron Man here when I think armored turtle, which I think is really cool because we're getting a turtle Jarvis. In terms of personality, now this is where I'd like to go in depth because I kept all the other sections quite short because I know that Donatello's appearance is actually quite typical of a Donatello, maybe minus the glasses. However, based on his looks and certain design elements, I'm going to say this is one of the edgiest Donatellos we have seen in a long time. Not only does Donatello have a major vulnerability, I think his genius intellect will not make him feel inferior to his brothers. Now, I'm not saying that Donatello is going to go crazy. However, it has happened before. I feel as if Donatello will have a superiority complex, not unlike Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. He's just using propulsors for flight. Now, Donatello has never really been a jerk. Because he is normally the supportive brother. I'm hoping to see some angst, struggling to accept his own weaknesses. He's going to be very interesting to watch. Now, there are some really cool references that I like to bring forward. In the original cartoon, Donatello is accidentally electrocuted and goes kind of batty. He becomes the Dark Turtle in order to fight crime. This episode not only talks about Donatello's thoughts about not needing to train as hard and instead using his mind, this is one of the few instances where we see that Donatello gets pushed to the edge. He literally becomes Batman when he is pushed to the edge. And he's actually really effective, other than being a little nuts. In the 2003 series, Donatello is also typically well-mannered and friendly. He loves his brothers, but there are two major instances where we see Donatello take a turn. Now, if you remember the Back to the Sewer season, we can see the closest thing to Splinter dying, as his data is scattered across the virtual world when they return to their timeline. And Donatello becomes obsessed with saving Master Splinter because he blames himself heavily for what happened. The second instance is when Donatello is teleported into a different dimension, the same as It Never Was episode, where he faces a future Utrom Shredder that has taken over, and also where he loses his brother. Unfortunately, Donatello faces the most emotional trauma in this series, and you can see that when he's pushed to the edge, he will act. Now, in the 2012 series, we get a Donatello that is kind of the arrogant tech whiz, and spoiler alert, in the Apocalypse episode, we see that Donatello eventually loses his entire body and becomes a version of Metalhead. This concept is explored also in the Image comics and also in the IDW comics when Donatello transfers his mind into a robotic body. Now, saying that, I think we're going to get a really edgy Donatello. Not only have we referenced Batman, not only has he gone to the future, not only has he gone to become a water dragon, I think this Donatello will be very different from the ones that we've seen. I think he is going to be the one that sets the tone for the team because, they rely on him to solve a lot of the problems that involves technology, machines, even just doing the science behind it. And, sometimes he's even the doctor, right? So I'd say our Donatello, this Donatello from Rise of TMNT, keep an eye on him. Master Turtle signing out. Episode 3 will be Leonardo.